What's going on, guys? So we got a couple updates on the race car. So we got all of our gauges up in here. We've got our main power, so then we're able to actually shut everything off now. Before I was just connecting and disconnecting the ground. And so we got our switches here. We got a little digital voltage readout. We got our tack up here, and then so this is our ignition, and then this is our starter. We'll start this thing up here for you guys in a minute. Yeah, we got our little steering wheel here, and it's not the quick connect. It's just, a super cheap steering wheel, and everything on this car is budget, but it works. We got our shifter here. It's just a piece of steel that I rigged some stuff up, and kind of reverse, neutral, drive, 3, 2, 1, all the way in park. And we got a couple wires going on around here. Don't worry about that cable that's disconnected. That's just an extra ground. I don't really need it. We got our battery right here behind the driver's seat. We got all of our harnesses and stuff, and pretty cool. Pretty cool. Brakes are finally working now. We got our brand new safety net, so I can put this thing up. Here. Hopefully you guys can see this thing. There we go. Nice and safe. Secured by zip ties. We'll get something a little more official in there sometime later. But yeah, for the most part, I think this thing's almost ready for racing season next year. But let's go ahead and crank it up and show you guys. All right. So we got our main power. We got our ignition. And then I don't think it'll need some gas because I just ran it for a second, but we'll see. Pretty cool. I think this thing's ready for race season next year. So in the last couple of videos, I know we took it out to the track. We tore it up a little bit. So the track was not prepped. It was super muddy out there. It was rough. And we did like maybe 15 laps or so. And I was driving. I just got the car to start packing down the track, and the track just started to get a little stickier and stuff. And well, our fastest lap yet, we ended up breaking an axle. Actually, I'll show you right now. So I've got the axle out that we broke, and since then, God's given us an opportunity to replace it. So thank you, Jesus. That's pretty cool. Just got old stuff. So check this out. So this thing shattered into a bunch of pieces, and I did my best to kind of puzzle it together, and then I welded it up pretty solid. And I actually put that thing in there like that, and I drove it into the garage and then out of the garage and whatnot, but just enough to kind of move it around a little bit. Nothing crazy. I wasn't like flooring it on it. But anyways, yeah. So we got this from somebody who, I was gonna go out, look at it, and buy it possibly if it was gonna fit. But the problem is the axles that came out of this rear end were a different size than I needed. And so mine were 26 spline, his were 28 spline, and his carrier was a little beefier, a little bigger. And I'm sitting there like, man, I don't know if I can use this, and maybe I could rig something up. And I believe it. I believe it was the Lord kind of putting it on his heart to for one reason or another, just make it happen. And he just said, you know what, Merry Christmas, you can have it. So we got ourselves a whole new axle, and then I ended up using his carrier and his axles, which are a little beefier, and I put them in the car. Everything fit just perfect. The bearing diameter was the same on the old shafts and the new shafts. So I've been driving this thing around just a little bit, not too crazy, because we got a little neighborhood out here, but yeah, pretty cool. I'm super excited, and hopefully we can get out to the track, maybe do a little more testing. If we could afford to pay the track to prep it so that it was actually like race ready at the track, I think we could push this thing a lot faster. Probably break something else, so we'll just have to keep kind of test and tune, and see where she's at, and just keep praying about it. And so hopefully this thing fares well and holds up. It's in the Lord's will. He's the one who allowed me to get into this racing thing and got this all started, and I think it's pretty cool because everything is super budget, and I mean there's 50 different things that God has done to make these impossible things come together, and man, it's just been awesome. I'm so lucky. But yep, pretty excited. So guys, just stay tuned, and we'll get some more content out hopefully soon.